Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining this live. I am grabbing all my stuff so that we can start with the dragons. We have been working on these dragons the last couple of days and I really hope that we can finish them today. Alright, so let's get started. I really want to finish these. And after I finish the dragons, I still need to finish all the other stuff around it. So, and then of course I need to clean everything up. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is paint those eyes. So I use indigo blue. I don't like to use black with watercolors. So instead of black, I always use indigo. It's a very nice, highly pigmented color. And for these dragons, well, at least for this one, because this one has its eyes open, I'm going to do like a vertical line like that. And for this one as well. Basically, that's it for this one. I think I'm going to add a bit of metallic paint to the spikes. I picked a pink as well because I don't want it to stand out too much. But I do like to put it in here as an extra detail. And then I feel like this, well, no. I do want to add some copper to a few scales as well. So we're almost done. Alright, so I am getting some copper on my brush. And I just want to add a few touches of the copper on a few scales. Not all of them, just a few. This looks really nice, especially on the parts where the background is really dark. So hello, nice that you are joining me in another live call. So I am painting with watercolors and normally this would be a very easy peasy watercolor for beginners. But I do have a deadline. I need to finish this dragon for someone I know. He's getting married and they are both into D&D. So I thought it would be really nice to create a card for them in the theme. So of course I needed to create a few dragons. Wait, I need to move something around. I'm sorry, it was a bit of a messy setup this evening. I wasn't totally prepared. Well, I thought I was, but as soon as I went live, I saw that I didn't have my phone charger here and some other things. So I needed to raise a bit at the end. I'm going to add a few bronze, no, what is it, copper lines here as well. So if you like to say hi, tell me where you're from, and if you're interested in watercolor painting or any other kind of painting, I love to know. So I think tomorrow will also be in a D&D theme, and then after that I'm going to pick up the easy watercolor for beginners again. So I guess the watercoloring part right now, that could be for beginners as well. It's just that the composition is a bit more complex to draw. So if you see the error that I made, I started on the right side and I'm right-handed. So now I need to do the back side, the left side, without touching the wet paint. So I'm moving it around a bit. So this is the first time that I have drawn and painted a dragon. So it was a bit out of my comfort zone, but I thought it would be a really nice idea for them to create this. And I'm going to create a card. I don't have the composition of the card in my head yet, but often when I have something like this, I first create the assets and then I scan them into my computer so I can work with them. And after everything is cleaned up, I do have my assets to make a composition. All right. I really do like this one, and I think it is finished. At least the dragon is, so we are going to come back to the other assets. So I'm going to move it a bit to the side, and then I am going to finish the blue dragon. Well, it's a bit turquoise actually. Is it better? All right. All right, so this one needs some more details. So I am going to start with some indigo blue for the eyes as well. But this dragon has got its eyes closed. And I think I'm going to use some of the turquoise color to add those same details like the scales as the other dragon. So this is a very easy and mindful exercise, just putting very small strokes, little stripes. So hello, thank you for joining me. I would like it if you say hi and tell me where you're from. Where are you watching from right now? And are you into watercolor painting or any other type of painting? So I am doing these daily calls, these daily live streams with watercolor paint, and usually it is for beginners, but I am having a few days that I am in the D&D theme, Dungeons and Dragons. So that's why I have drawn and painted 2 dragons. And after they are finished, I need to do the other assets as well, and I am creating a card with them. I think it will be another day with the dragon theme, and after that we will be back to the easy watercolor painting. And for this, it's not that the watercolor part is very difficult. It's just that the composition to draw and create an illustration like this, that is not really something for beginners. When I do a beginner tutorial, I always try to start with easy things to draw or sketch. I always do love adding those details to the paintings and the illustrations. Let me see, I think I'm going to use purple to add some stripes in the webbing. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. I am really happy that you're here, and I would love it if you say hi, tell me where you are from, and I would like to hear if you are into watercolor painting or any other type of painting. So for the last couple of days and probably tomorrow, I will be painting in this D&D theme, working on these dragons and the other assets to create a really nice card. It is actually for someone that I know. And after that, I will be back to the easy peasy watercolor for beginners tutorial videos in the live streams. So basically anyone could join. If you're interested in learning how to draw or paint with watercolor, then you are in the right place. And yes, if you will follow me for a while, that means that in a certain amount of time you will be able to draw and paint these dragons as well. All right, I think I am going to grab a little bit more of the darker turquoise and then go over the teal for some details here as well. And now the dragon needs to dry, and after that we can add some metallic paint on this one as well. So that means that we can move on to all the assets we need to paint. I quickly am going to change my water because it's blue and I need to work with yellows. If you have dirty water and you use a paint color that is different from the color of the water, your water gets muddy, so the paint that you're using on your paper is getting muddy. So it's really important to always work with clean water. And usually I have 2 jars of clean water, but I broke one 2 days ago and I haven't been able to, well, I've got some jars here. I need to clean them up. I just didn't have the time yet. So I've been working with the 1 jar, but that means that I need to refill my jar a bit more often. So I think I'm going to stay with my really small brush because I've got some smaller elements here. And I want to start with the moon. So I'm going to start with a very light yellow. And then I'm just going to, as we did with the basic layers, start by painting in like it is a coloring sheet, staying within those lines. And I'm using a medium light wash, so there is still room to add more pigment. And it's not so light and you don't see anything. Now this is not the final color I want the moon to be, and I think in the end we are going to add some metallic paint over it as well, because I am definitely using metallics for the details here. But for now I am going to drop in some turquoise so that it's going to get some warmer tones. So I'm doing this while the paint is still wet so it can blend in quite easily. Now I'm watering my brush and gently brushing over here. That helps the paint to blend in. So now we do have a nice moon, and I'm going to do the same thing for the stars. And for these shapes, I definitely need my smaller brush. So thank you so much for joining me in this live stream. I would love it if you would say hi, tell me where you are from. And I would love to know if you're interested in watercolor painting. Or maybe any other type of painting. Maybe you like to learn how to paint with watercolors, but you still feel like, how do you say it? Like a resistance somewhere. Maybe a bit nervous, or maybe you are already painting with watercolor. I love to hear. So this is like my passion project right now. I am going live daily doing watercolor, and it is mainly going to be for beginners, but right now I really need to finish these dragons. It is for someone I know who is getting married, and I need to create a card. And they are both totally into D&D, so I thought it would be cool to have a theme card. And that meant that I needed to draw and paint dragons. Well, I have never done that before. And of course, those dragons are cool, but I need some assets to make the composition later, the card, really come together. And I don't have an idea yet how it's going to look like, or maybe a little bit by now. But my strategy, and I do work like this very often, is just drawing and painting a lot of assets, and then I digitize them by scanning them into my computer, and then clean everything up in Photoshop, and then I've got a lot of pretty things to work with to create a beautiful card. And of course, I will be able to create other products with this as well. Maybe stickers. I could put them on a mug. Stationery. Yeah, there are a lot of things I can do with this. I actually do want to paint more dragons and other things. I do love nature. I do love magical and cozy art. So I think that dragons really fit into that. So hello, I'm very happy that you are joining my live stream today. And I would really love it if you say hi and tell me where you are from. And I would also love to know if you are into painting with watercolor or if you're interested in learning, because that is why I am here. So for the last few days and probably tomorrow, I will be working on these dragons. And after that, I will be back to the easy peasy watercolor illustrations. But still, I hope that this is very inspirational, and do know that if you follow enough of my watercolor tutorials, then this is something you will be able to draw and paint as well in the not so distant future. So now I'm just basically painting in all those shapes that I have drawn already. I thought it would be nice to have some leaves and flowers, and of course the stars, and some other really nice magical elements as well. Now, let me put this aside. I want a little bit of, yeah, this is a good size. I'm going to use my round brush size 2 because I want to do those leaves. And it's easier for me if the brush is a bit bigger than. So I am just gently painting in those leaves that I've already drawn, trying not to let my hand rest somewhere where the paint is wet. I don't want to smudge everything. So I always like to use sap green as a base color for my leaves. And then I am paying attention right now that the paint isn't drying up too fast. And then I will drop in some other colors. So right now I am grabbing a darker green. I think this actually is an aqua green, and then I'm just going to drop it in here on one side. Going to be a bit playful about it. Adding some more in there. Alright, now I want to, wait, let me grab some yellow, just a bit of a very nice warm yellow. I need to make sure I have enough pigment on my brush. I'm going to add that in here and in here. And you see that the paint is already blending in itself very nice. I want to mix this around a bit because I don't want it to be too harsh. But now that can blend in quite nicely. Alright, moving on to a few other leaves. Now I'm starting with another color, green. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. I'm very happy that you are here, and I would love it if you say hi. Let me know where you are from. And I also would love to know if you are interested in watercoloring, if you are already doing it, or if you're interested in learning how to paint with watercolor. Because that is why I am here. It is my personal mission to go live. Well, I'm grabbing a smaller brush for this. So I am really invested in going live daily to do watercolor painting, and so for now I am doing a dragon theme, well, Dungeons and Dragons actually. But after, well, I think tomorrow we will be in this theme, and then after that we will be back to the easy peasy watercolor for beginners. And I would just love it if you are interested in learning how to paint with watercolor, if you would join me in these sessions. So for now, the watercoloring actually is something that could be for beginners as well. I have my outlines, I'm just putting paint in there, and that is something that you will be able to follow what we will be doing in my easy peasy watercolor classes. But the thing is that the composition that I made right now is a bit too advanced for a beginner's class. It's just that I really need to finish this really soon. So I hope that it can be an inspiration either way. It's also something out of my comfort zone. This was, well, actually, this was the first dragon I've ever drawn and painted, and this is the second one. So I have done this on the live and a bit out of my comfort zone, but I think they already turned out really nice. And I'm very happy with all the support that I got during all these live calls. I always really love your input as well. So if you've got any suggestions, any ideas, any feedback, any requests, you can always shout, say something. So now I'm just moving from acid to acid to put in the first layers. So this basically means that, so the first layer of paint I put in here, of course this is wet on dry because the paper is dry. But then while the paint is still wet, I really like to drop in some more pigment or some other colors to have some shading, to have some interesting colors appearing here. And then this needs to dry overnight before I can add some details on there. And I really do want to add details on here. So tomorrow in the live stream we will be finishing this and then afterwards I need to get to the, how do you say, the digitizing process really fast so I can actually make the card. So as you can see, I put in like a stripe, like the middle line of the leaf, and at some points the paint below was still wet, so it blended out completely, and at other points like this one the paint had dried up. There was a lighter layer below that one, but still it didn't dry up completely. It's still getting sucked in there and blending out a little bit. Basically, I'm just playing around a little bit so that all the leaves are not identical, and I just really like to be playful with this part. So I'm really happy that you are joining my live stream, and I would love it if you say hi. Let me know where you are from, and I would also love to know if you are into watercolor painting. So I'm working on 2 dragons right now. The first one is finished, and the other one you see right here needs to dry, and then we can add some metallic details on top. And in the meanwhile, I am painting all the assets that I need to be able to create a card. And now I'm just playing around with some colors. I don't really have a plan other than that I want to have all the doodles I have here, I want to have them all painted. And then this is like the wet layer, the first layer, and then I need to dry it overnight, and then I can put some details on there. So tomorrow we will still be in this D&D team with the dragons. And after that we will be back to the easy peasy watercoloring. I will be doing very easy drawings and paintings. So anyone can join. If you're interested in learning how to paint with watercolor, then this is a really nice place to be. I'm just thinking what colors I want to have those flower leaves. What color I want to make them. This is me in my creative process. I'm really thinking right now. If anyone has a suggestion, please let me know. I think I'm going to first paint some leaves, and then I hope that I get a brainwave. But I do mean it. I really love all the input. So last few days I have had people watching who gave me suggestions about which colors I could use. That was really a lot of fun. It's really nice to get instant feedback. Alright, I am going to get a darker paint to add a few details in here as well. Now the thing with those flowers is that I would like to have a nice contrasting color. I realized maybe I should have made the petals bright pink. It's just that the one dragon is already purple with pink and the other is blue. Well, maybe I just need to make them yellow because I do have a few stars that are yellow. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with yellow. All right, so, I just wanted to say I need to be careful because the middle, the core of the flower is still wet paint. And now I dripped a large amount of yellow paint over it. And as you can see, the paint, there was a really like a big pile of paint on here. So the yellow, I lifted it up a bit, it's like lying on top of the paper. And the pink was also lying on top of the paper, so the yellow was on top of that, so it wasn't touching the paper yet. What I can also do is, when we get to the metallics part, add some metallic on top. I don't know yet. Or maybe some other details. Somehow I am going to make this work. I need to be a bit careful here because I've got wet paint all over here. So I'm going to turn around the paper a bit. And I want to grab some yellow from there because I feel like there's too much paint there. So I'm going to relocate it. All right. I do want to add some color to this, so I think I'm going to grab some orange and I'm going to drip that in the core here and then just see what it does. You can see the flowers with the wettest paint. Alright, turning it like this so I can do these flowers on the side. Thinking that maybe I am going to give them another color. Wait, let me do this color. So thank you so much for joining my live stream. I'm very happy that you are here. And if you like to, I would love it if you say hi and tell me where you are from. And of course, I do love to hear if you are interested in watercolor painting or if you would like to learn how to paint with watercolor. Because I really am doing a lot of watercolor tutorial videos, and I am doing daily live streams. So for the last couple of days and tomorrow, it will be in a D&D theme, but after that we will be back to the very easy peasy watercolor for beginners. So if you are interested in learning how to paint with watercolor, I would love it if you would like to join. So I have added the first layer of paint on all of the elements on this page. So I'm going to move this aside and going to grab the paper with the other dragon. And that also has some nice assets to paint. So I'm going to quickly refill my water jar, clean water. All right, so now before we can continue with the painting, I need to grab my kneading eraser. And we need to lift off the gray pencil lines because it's not nice to see those in the end result. At least I don't like it. So that is why I always lift off those lines. And then suddenly you can still see those lines, so you know where your paint needs to be. But you won't see the pencil in the end result, and I think that's really nice. And usually when I do something like this, where I create elements to digitize and then make a composition later, I always fill up the entire piece of paper. So this is not how the end result is going to look like. I'm going to scan everything in, clean it up in Photoshop, and then create a composition with everything that I have. Probably do some hand lettering as well, because this is going to be a card for someone I know who is getting married, so that probably I'm going to put some names on there, you know, stuff like that. All right, so let's get back to painting. So again, just paint within those lines, starting with a medium light wash for the first layer. And then pay attention to how fast the paint dries, because you would like to add some more pigment or a different color while the paint is still wet. Then it will blend in quite nicely. And then after that, I always let it dry overnight so that it is completely dry. And then I will add details. Like you see on the dragon, all the scales, all the stripes. You do that after you have had the first layer dry completely. Otherwise, those lines will smudge, blend out. So I do like to drop in the colors while the paint is still wet. And I also do like to try and stay within these lines. That way, if you have a few areas with paint touching each other or like nearly touching each other with different colors, you want to try to avoid those colors touching each other, because otherwise they will blend in together. So this is like a technique you can use so that you don't have to wait in between those areas that they're completely dry. Of course, you can wait, or you can use like a blow dryer to dry your paint. Although I don't prefer that, because then your lines dry up harsher. You see, I accidentally touched the paint here, so now it's going to blend in there here as well. Now for this I don't mind. I think this is like a happy accident. I could even deliberately put in some more color in there. So here it was already dried up a bit, so I'm using some water to brush it out, because I don't want the line to be too harsh. Now I've got the same type of flower right here. So I am actually thinking that maybe I'm going to continue with some. Okay, let me show you. I've got another sheet of elements that I also need to paint before I can finish this card. So I am going to paint these tomorrow before the live stream, so that in the stream we only need to do the details, because I also like the cleaning up process takes time as well, and I do want to be able to order the card somewhere next week, otherwise I won't have it in time. So I really do need to speed up this process. Now you see this one escaped. It went out very big because it just both sides were very wet. Now I could do something about it. I could use a dry brush, a clean brush, to lift off the water. But I think I'm going to let it dry like this and then just see what I'm going to do with this tomorrow. So I'm very happy that you are joining my stream today. And I would love it if you say hi, tell me where you are from. And I would also love to hear if you are interested in learning how to paint with watercolor, or maybe you already do paint with watercolor. So I am here almost every day with a live stream. with watercolor painting. So right now for a couple of days we are in a Dungeons and Dragons theme, but after that we will be back to an easy peasy watercolor for beginners theme with easy compositions, easy to draw, so anyone can join in. Right here you saw me touch it and then wham. I'm going to keep it like this also. It's totally fine. So if you're interested in learning how to paint with watercolor, it would be awesome if you would like to go to my hub. You'll find a lot of free tutorials over there and some resources you can get on my exclusive watercolor mailing list. And I would love it if you would be there. I am really on a mission to help people learn how to draw and learn how to paint. And we are about to reach the end of our stream today. So as I said, we will be back tomorrow. It will be the last stream in this dragon theme. Well, I think I will be back with a stream where we will be cleaning up this in Photoshop. You will see my digitizing process, how I go from this on paper to something, I could put to the printer. So a really nice composition on a card. And I can show you how I make stickers out of this, stuff like that. I will be doing that in live streams as well, but maybe next to the watercolor tutorial streams. So I'm going to make events for that, so you can go to my page, to my profile, and check out the events there and register so you won't forget if you're interested in any of these topics. I think it's going to be really, really a lot of fun, and if you're interested in learning this, it could be a very valuable. Basically everything I've learned over the past few years I will be showing you. Thank you so much. That is so nice. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. So I was hoping to be able to finish these elements as well, but I see that we are already doing this live for over an hour, so I really am going to end this soon. So thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm very happy that you got here. It has been a slow evening, but I guess it's a Saturday evening here, so a lot of people are doing other stuff. I will just be back here tomorrow and we will be finishing off these really cool dragons. So let me show you the other one as well before I'm going to sign off. This is the first one and this is the second one. And tomorrow we will be adding some metallic details on this dragon and some details and also metallic details on the elements. We will be finishing these elements and I'm going to make sure that I have these watercolored as well, so we can continue with this as well. I want to wrap it up tomorrow so we can move on to the digitizing process. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will be ending the call now, and I really hope to see you back here tomorrow.